Do I finally have answers to my chronic ailments? Hi guys, have a seat, take a load off, get relaxed because I'm going to be sharing my story on what is going on in my body. I'm hoping that this video is going to be able to help anyone who might be struggling with something currently and looking for guidance or looking for some kind of confirmation that you are not crazy. This video is going to be all about me discovering how I have endometriosis, how I've been suffering, what that suffering has looked like, finally being validated in all of my feelings and all the things that I've been going through, and things that I'm going to be doing to try and attempt to naturally heal my endometriosis so I don't have to get the surgery. I want to start this video off by saying welcome back to my channel. Whoever's been following my channel, hi, thank you guys so much. I started my YouTube channel back in 2018 because I initially posted about having insomnia and my story and anxiety and all of these different things, which is why I've been so focused on wellness and all of my content. I believe all of that has been stemming from an illness that I've been suffering from all of these years and had no idea, and now I'm finally getting answers. So hopefully I'm going to be able to reverse engineer everything that's happened to me and be able to heal, or at least put to rest my illness so that it's more dormant and it's not as active and flared up. I want to start off this video by explaining what endometriosis is in case anyone has no idea. I literally have notes. I just want to preface this video by saying, obviously, I am not a doctor, so if you're watching this video, this is not advice for you from a doctor's standpoint. This is advice from you from a girl who's been suffering from years, who felt like I was made to be crazy every time I spoke to a doctor, and now I'm having to do a ton of research on my own. I'm having to read books, I'm having to talk to people, take personal testimonials, and also just test on myself what is working and what is not working. What is endometriosis? So one of the understandings of what endometriosis is a condition that occurs when the lining of the uterus begins forming outside of the uterus, sometimes on the stomach, anus, and can even spread up to the lungs. These formations then attempt to shed during the menstrual cycle, pulling formations from abnormal places, causing excruciating pain and a myriad of other health issues. If not treated or maintained, can result in various cancers or even infertility. It is that serious. It is an illness that 10% of the female population is suffering from and have probably no idea, and can be that detrimental to the body. Now that you're understanding what endometriosis might be, it is very unique in the sense that all of the things that you might be experiencing can be caused by the endometrium that is growing inside of you, throwing off your body, causing inflammation, and the inflammation is leading to all a host of different ailments like anxiety, sleeplessness, insomnia, acne, hormonal imbalances. There's literally so many things. For me, the biggest thing is chronic fatigue that I've been facing, and I'm gonna get into that more in a second, but I kind of just want to clear up what endometriosis is more. How do people get endometriosis? They don't actually know a definitive answer, but it can be partially genetic, environmental, or hormonally induced. They are still studying and don't have definitive answers for now on how it forms in every female, but it can be onset by 3 factors, which are those 3 factors or one of them, and so forth. My mom says she has endometriosis, so I'm guessing that's partially why I am just understanding that I might have it now. What are some of the symptoms of people who have endometriosis / what have I experienced, etc., etc.? This is an entire list. Severe pelvic and lower abdominal pain days before the cycle begins and during the cycle, a heavy prolonged period with thick clots, ovulation, painful sex or intercourse, infertility, chronic fatigue, PMS, migraines, insomnia, depression, night sweats, breast tenderness, bloating that worsens during the menstrual cycle. I know all of this stuff is super graphic. I also just want to preface this video by saying this is all super personal to me, and I want to share this not just because I want to tell my story, but because I want to validate women who are listening to this so they can understand you are not crazy. And it's something that's so uncomfortable to talk about, and even on my platform I feel a little uncomfortable talking about it, but I do think it's very important to share awareness, because anytime I do see someone talking about it, it just makes me feel so much better. It makes me feel heard. It makes me feel like I'm not crazy and I can actually do something about it and take my wellness into my own hands. I want to start off by talking about my story and how I'm understanding that I have endometriosis, some of the things I went through, some of the things I experienced. I'm going to go way back to when I was 15 years old. When I was 15 years old, I had a period that lasted almost 3 months. During these 3 months, I did not tell anybody because obviously you're young, you have no idea what's going on. You don't really want to talk to anybody about what's going on with something so personal and embarrassing like that. So I hid it. It wasn't until I passed out at a water park and basically was forced to go to the ER that they were like, hey, you've lost so much blood, that we were this close to having to do a blood transfusion, which would have been really scary and really traumatic for me as a kid. So thank God that didn't have to happen. Something was off in my body, obviously. Unfortunately, when I went to that doctor, all they did was put me on birth control because they wanted to stop the bleeding and control it immediately, but they didn't really offer up answers as to what could possibly have been going on in my body. At that time, they told me, hey, this is, normal. Sometimes people experience abnormal periods. I think birth control is gonna be the best option for you. It's just gonna help regulate your cycle. And that was pretty much all I was told. And at 15 years old, I didn't know to advocate for myself. I didn't know to ask any more questions. And so I just went forward and took the birth control. I took the birth control until 2018 when I graduated college. And in 2018, I developed really severe insomnia. Out of nowhere, I stopped sleeping. And so that became a whole journey of me diving into my wellness. And part of it I felt like might have been the fact that I was on hormonal birth control for years at this point. So I decided to get off of it. And that is when everything just started to get worse for me. After getting off birth control, I developed severe acne, adult acne. My skin was just terrible. I started to have excruciating periods. They were less frequent than they are now, but when I tell you excruciating, I want to explain the pain level at like a 20 out of 10. It's to the point where I'm nonverbal. It's so exhausting to my body that after what I call them episodes, but after an episode, I'm bedridden for the entire day because my body has used all of its energy in this episode of pain. My body temperature rises to a point where the only place that I can be is on the bathroom floor because that's the coldest place in the house. It has to be super cold. I am throwing up. I am about to pass out. That's how painful. Like the pain is to the point where I'm like, I've never experienced anything like this. I don't know what childbirth feels like, but I feel like it's so close to probably that feeling of childbirth. We already know that normal painful periods are like as severe as a heart attack, studies have shown. So this is painful period on steroids. Whenever I explained to someone that I had like these excruciating periods, they just didn't really understand. And I feel like a lot of people, especially like my gynecologists and doctors, would think that I am being overdramatic. And obviously I was suffering from the insomnia and the anxiety. So where there were all these different problems and no one was ever like, maybe you have an underlying issue. They were all just like, maybe you should live a better lifestyle. Or here are these pain pills, painkillers, because this is the only thing that will stop the pain, or get on birth control. Those are pretty much your only options to fixing all of these ailments that you have, and we have no idea what's wrong with you because you seem perfectly healthy. So for years, I was doing blood tests. I've been switching up the way that I've been eating. I've been detoxifying my home. I literally live in a bubble at this point and still was unable to figure out what was going on with me because I present as a perfectly healthy human. It wasn't until this year that the chronic fatigue that I started to feel became so bad that at this point I cannot do more than like one activity a day. So if that's working out and then potentially like meeting up with a friend, that will wipe me out for the entire day. I will have days where I literally feel like I cannot get out of bed. I'm so tired, I'm so exhausted. And what's insane is I'm a type A go, go, go kind of person. I always have been my entire life. So this new version of myself that I've become where I don't have the mental capacity, I don't have the physical capacity to get up and go do things or make certain things happen that I've been wanting to make happen is a really scary feeling for me personally. And I know that people from the outside looking in are probably also like, something is a little bit off because this isn't normal. I also feel like I'm that girl where people probably think I'm the little boy who cried wolf. You know, when you're saying something's wrong, you're saying something's wrong. When people evaluate it, they're like, nothing's wrong. And from this standpoint, I feel like so many females have been told nothing is wrong with you. You're perfectly healthy. You're perfectly fine. And the whole time they have these underlying conditions which are so severe. They affect the quality of your life and you're gaslit into thinking you're perfectly fine and you're over exaggerating what's going on with your menstrual cycle. Anyway, that's my story. I'm suffering from chronic fatigue. I'm suffering from these really painful periods. I have like one good week a whole month. It's actually really scary. It's affecting my ability to go to work or have a full-time job or do certain things. It is really severe. It's to the point now where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take my health into my own hands. So I've been doing a ton of research. The first thing that I did once I realized I probably have an underlying condition was start to look up different conditions that have to do with your menstrual cycle. And one of them was PCOS, and you know, some of the things matched up, some of them didn't. I talked to my doctor about it and we're like, okay, When I heard the symptoms of endometriosis, I was like, this is me. When I listened to people speak, I was like, this is me. So the first thing that I did was bought a book. My trusty Kindle. I love to read to understand what's going on. So the first one that I got was How I Ended My Endometriosis Naturally by Wendy K. Laidlaw. I just got this to hear someone's story who has worked on healing their endometriosis naturally without the surgery. The scary thing is that everyone is like surgery, 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 and it's a very invasive surgery and it seems very traumatic. I know a lot of people have found relief in doing the surgery. The only problem with that is not only does it take a toll on your body, I think that the recovery is like 3 weeks, but it's not 100% effective. So the endometriosis can come back, it can flare back up years after the surgery. And for me, I'm thinking if there's a way for me to put the endometriosis in remission, or at least in a place that it's manageable, I would rather do that than do a surgery, have to go back and have another surgery, and just risk some of the things that come with doing surgeries. I also want to preface this and say it's really scary that endometriosis can lead to things like cancer or even infertility. And I have no kids yet, so this is really something that I feel like I need to pay attention to and just keep an eye on, because I want to be able to have kids someday. I'm joking and a little bit uppity while telling this, but it's something that is so scary and detrimental to my wellness and my life quality. So it's just, if you're experiencing this, I see you, I hear you, and I feel you. What I'm currently doing to naturally treat my endometriosis is I met with an acupuncturist who is certain that they're going to be able to help me manage it. He has validated and listened to everything that I've said, and he's also worked with patients before who have had endometriosis, and he's really determined that we can figure something out naturally.
Here are 4 things that I'm incorporating / prioritizing my first week of working with my acupuncturist to naturally heal my body. Focusing on yin yoga, so I'm stretching and really releasing any tension that's built up in my body, especially in my hips. He wanted me to start with focusing on the basics, so we made a custom blend of herbs and vitamins for me to take daily. He wanted me to focus on drinking enough water, and honestly, the best way to track it is using a Stanley cup just because they're so giant and you can hold so much water. Last is creating a food journal, so at the next appointment we can evaluate it, and I'm not gonna lie, writing everything down has showed me how much I actually eat.
And so right now I am on a 3-month plan with him, and we're gonna start with this month. I've already done 1 week, and so far with that first week, the focus of the week was breathing, making sure that I'm getting enough oxygen in my body, so taking the time to breathe. The second thing is water, making sure that I'm taking enough water. Third thing is supplements, is he's given me Chinese medicine powder to take. I don't actually know what's in that powder. I'm going to be meeting with him next week. And when I meet with him next week, I'm just gonna follow up to get the exacts in what is in the vitamins that I'm taking, so I can be able to list and share them with you. And then the last thing is yin yoga, so the kind of yoga that really focuses on stretching, especially in your hips, and releasing any tension in the body. And I'm doing a food journal. And so week 2, we're gonna be going over everything that I'm eating, as well as obviously doing the acupuncture. And then by week 4, if we don't see some kind of improvement when I do get my period, we're going to go back to the drawing board. But I'm really excited and positive and hopeful that I will find a way to be able to treat the endometriosis naturally. So if this is something that you're experiencing, I want to give you all the feedback on things that are going to be working for me: diet, lifestyle, acupuncture, non-acupuncture, stretching, whatever it may be. So feel free to stay in touch and follow this journey. If this is something that you're experiencing, I just first want to tell you that everything that you're feeling is valid. You are heard, you are seen, and I know it's not easy. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the description box. And I hope this video was helpful for you to understand your body more, as well as just hearing someone else's story if it's similar to yours. I will see you in the next video, and hopefully I will have some answers for you guys soon. Mwah.